All right, so folks, welcome back. I know you were on your spring break. I know some people have lab tonight, so I'll be teaching other people tomorrow. We're working on Code Combat. If you missed last week, the Monday and Wednesday webinars are already up, but I will show you here. We'll also get you PDF files, okay? And, well, then just, I think Mr. Mauer has it. I'm not sure why your Emoto won't work. We'll save that for afterwards, okay? Okay, now, let's talk about this. If you haven't already, start working on, if you want to make checkers, start getting those done. Make sure they're within the dimensions of like 50 millimeters by 50 millimeters, 10 meters high. It can be bigger than that if you want. You're not caring about duplicating or molding and casting. And then it can be something like 80 by 80 by 10 or 80 by 40 by 40 or 20, I should say. So there's different things we can do. All right, JavaScript it's free. It's on Code Combat. It runs well on Chrome and Firefox for me at least. All right. Okay, we found the problem with the code on the Thornbush forum, so I think I've gotten it. It's got a bug, but you have to put it exactly right to work when really you would think it should work. And sometimes I end up having to copy letters that I can't type for whatever reason. It's like Code Academy, they always want you to they expect certain answers, and when you don't put the specific answer in there, it sometimes throws it. Yes, make an account if you don't have one. All right. Now, you don't have to subscribe, Jaden. Remember, we're not having anybody subscribe to this. That was Defensive Plainswood. That was the first one. Remember, and we started looking at the say messages. So you had to build 2 villages to keep everybody safe. This build XYC. This build XYC, so you could allow you to build fences. And then in the Winding Trail, we learned the skills granted. We put on those boots. Allows us to do move XY. All right. Then we started getting in if statements with Thumbiter. We equipped this one. And what you do is, remember, we gave the ogre a hard time, and he ran across right into our mines. All right. And all you had to do was say that condition. Now, that was Monday. How many people did that lab? This one here was the ogre. Raise your hand if you've done it. All right, great. So we were there. All right, so that's where we were. Again, we'll put up the webinars and PDFs to get you caught back up, okay? I can't start over there from scratch because it'd be hard on the people that were here last week, right? So let's go on. In this lab, for people that weren't here, all you do is change these if statements. You don't really write code. You simply change these so it'll be true or not true, right? So in this case, 2 plus 2, it says, hey, what? 2 plus 2 equals 4, hey, you, whereas the original code was 2 plus 2 equals 5. Remember, I should say this in JavaScript for people who haven't done it. Equal is the same thing as saying, is that equal to? Whereas 2 plus 2, enemy equals 1, you're assigning the number 1 to the variable enemy. So it gets some you getting used to it. So it's equal. And again, this is assuming you were here last week. If you're not, this is a little fast. You're going to need to see the whole webinars. Or go through it. I think most people enjoy it. Gems of Death. Again here, all we did was get the code, move to the first mine. Well, we don't want that, so 1 plus 1 is 3. And then what you had to do is get this code to work. And in certain areas, you don't want it to work. So you don't want to move to the first mine, so you changed it from 1 to 1 to 1 to 4, so that wouldn't happen. But to the first gem, you would. So 2 plus 2, you made that 4. All right? How many people remember getting to this point? excuse me, Gems of Death. All right, now I got a lot of folks here that were not here. I don't want to overwhelm you. We're kind of in a funny world where I got only third of my class that were here. All right, but we're going to all start back in. Let me do this. Let me do this with the class right now. Putting everybody's hands on. How many people have not touched Code Combat at all? Haven't seen it, been gone. Okay, great. There's only one of us. Two of us. Or one, I guess. The number keeps changing on me. All right, you're going to register. Make sure you pick JavaScript as your language. We're using JavaScript, Jaden. Don't pick Python. That's the default language. Okay? And just start working through the tutorials. And when this is over, go ahead and watch the tutorials. If you still have got questions, I'll gladly answer for you. Okay? Now, how many people remember getting to this point? Raise your hand if you Code Combat at the second world here. How many people got to the second world point? Raise your hands. Oh no, Lab 6, I missed this one. Yeah, Jaden. Okay, we'll make an account. All right, so there's a lot of you then that never got to this. You just what? Did the first half? Hang on a second. Putting my hands down. I'm trying to figure out where we are. Well, I'm on Gems of Death. We got one person there, and that's the one I'm doing right now. All right. Okay. How many people stayed? All right. Let me ask Hope. Hope, you got a question? I'm going to put your hand down. If you've got a question, raise it again. Otherwise, leave it down. Just I'm trying to get a sense of where everybody is on this. We missed a bunch of people last week, and I think that's what's kind of throwing us right now. Okay. Let me do this. I'm going to pull this one up and see where everybody else on this. We got into methods. We talked about functions. How many people got the Dungeons of Kithgard? It's the very first one. How many people did this one? Okay. Well, Aiden, and you haven't been at any of them. It's up there. It was posted last week. All right, so we got 7 of 13. All right, Aiden wasn't here at all, so we'll get him going on that. Leave your hands up, guys. Please, please leave your hands up so I can figure out. All right, don't take them down. It throws me. I'll put them all down. Don't worry, you don't have to put them down. All right, Cole, Caden, Kaylin, where... Okay, I'm trying to figure out. I got almost caught up. Cooper's almost caught up. All right. So then you would have done level 1, Cooper, if you've already caught up, guys, right? If you were here Monday or Wednesday, you did level 1. How about this? I'll tell you what. Let's just do this. If you were here Monday or saw the webinar for Mondays, raise your hand. Okay, so a couple of you have not raised your hand. All right. Michael, were you here Monday or Wednesday? Caden Craft, were you here Monday or Wednesday or saw the webinar? Cole, were you here Monday or Wednesday or did you send the webinar Monday? All right. Then, those people that weren't here Monday have not done Code Combat at all. No worries. Again, I'm trying to fill everybody out. We posted the webinars on YouTube. So if you go on Young Engineers Today YouTube and you look it up that way, you'll find it. Also, Mr. Maurer will have them. Here is those people. I'm going to get, I want you to go ahead, register, pick your character. So go to Code Combat, right? Go to codecombat.com. Getting started, choose your hero. Don't pick Python, pick JavaScript. There he is. In this case, little guy is JavaScript. The woman was Python, though she could be JavaScript. And he starts off as Python, but we make him JavaScript for this. All right? Then you equip her with shoes or him with shoes. And you start learning these simple methods. Move down. Myself, move down, move left, move right. You start working through the different tutorials. They're pretty straightforward, and I think you'll be all right. So I'm going to leave you all with that. Now, with those people who still have their hands up, leave your hand up if you were here Wednesday. If you were not Wednesday, put your hand down. All right, great. Those people that weren't here Wednesday can go ahead and then start working on it. Or they can go on our YouTube channel and find the webinar there if they want to look at it. Or you can go ahead and listen to this next part. Now, for those people that were here Wednesday, were we? So we would have started here. I thought we got to the move and the if statements on this. Is Gems of Death about where we ended? Let me raise your hand. Write down where you thought. Was it Gems of Death? You can look on your own computer. You can look on the game and see which last red flag you have. So that was Gems of Death and Patrol Buster. Endangered Burl. Thornbush Farms. I don't believe we got past Thornbush Farms. Where do we get? All right, so we have questions. Where do people feel like? Look on your code and say, Gems of Death. Okay, great. Very friendly game. All right. So what we did with Gems of Death is you just learn to change the code to make it work. You didn't really write new code. You just changed the code to make it work. All right. Now, what we're going to do here, we're going to do Patrol Buster. That's the next level. And we're going to use a loop on this. And what this is going to say is, find this nearest enemy. If it's there, if there is an enemy, if there's an enemy, attack it. And that's what Nightmare Bull. So that's the code. So what this is simply saying is, hey, if you spot an enemy, go ahead and attack it. All right? Go ahead, raise your hand once you've got that one to work. Patrol Buster. Raise it once you have it. Also raise your hand if you never have an intent to do this on this. People that were not here, go to the first part, the first mission on this. Start there. Getting started, don't pay for anything. Do Defense of Plainswood if you weren't here Wednesday. Let me know when you've gotten Patrol Buster so we can go on to the next one. And I think, Jason, you told me you've gotten everyone, you've beaten the game, so you're pretty set. Let me know, folks. All right, very good. All right, let's go on then. All right, so this one, it starts to be a decision tree. If I'm not attacking this, if it sees Burl, I'm not attacking that. But if it sees a Munchkin, it's going to. So in this one, loop, find nearest enemy, assign it to the variable. It's variable. It's called enemy, and var means usually a variable, and it can be anything basically as a variable goes. All right. And if enemy type is Burl, remember that double equal sign, then a container bracket and another container, and in between say, I'm not attacking that Burl. And then if the enemy type is Munchkin, attack the enemy. Do the same thing for thrower, and if it's an ogre, run away from it. Use that move spell. So go ahead, work on that, raise your hand when you can. Folks that are not that far up, this is time for you to work and get caught up. Well, John, if yours is not working, that doesn't tell me enough, buddy. You've got to tell me, are you getting just an error message, or is it just a guy getting killed? And John, have you gone up to this point? Let me see. Hang on, where you at? Because you can't just jump in. If you haven't done it at all right, you know, you're up to Gems of Death, so that was the next one. You got to tell me why yours isn't working. I mean, tell me what's going on that indicates it's not working. Okay, you're probably going to have to go to type. Not self anymore. I know it's strange they changed it. Make it type. Do type attack. Or this. I didn't say type, I meant this. Okay, raise it once you get it. You have to use John. You have to use this. I'm not sure. That doesn't, I mean, I'm kind of confused. Let me show you the answer to it. Right there it is. That will do it. Yeah, you got to have that if enemy. That way it knows to attack it. Let me go back for everybody else. Take a screenshot. Let's go ahead, raise your question. Let's see if you can get this one done right now. The endangered burl. All right, let's get a few more people to get this. It's 6:57 now. I'm going to give you 3 or 4 minutes, and then I'd like to be able to go to, hopefully get enough that we can go on, but we'll take our time. And again, can't stress enough, these are recorded, and there's not a rush. There's no point. We're trying to introduce you to programming. And when you first start programming, it's a little more challenging. So we got, now it says, please double check your code carefully. It keeps saying, please double code carefully. Well, John, you probably don't have it exactly the way I have it. You got to have patience on this, my good man. Patience. I don't always have it, but I try. All right, let me go ahead and show you what yours needs to be while those other folks are working on their code. Here it is. All right. I know when that happens, it won't let me type. Oh, that's frustrating. Go ahead, clean out these lines. See if you can get this back on here. All right? That is very frustrating, John. Sometimes it's weird. It looks for one answer. When it doesn't get it, it really fights for you. Oh, that's Ryan that's getting it. Yeah, sometimes it'll be off one word or something, and it'll fight with you. I sometimes find I have to copy the container. Like there's not enough space for the container to finish, so I put it in there. I don't know if that'll help you, Ryan. Okay, how many people have gotten this one done now? You know what, people? I'm going to go back, and we're going to see how many people can get this first one done. Well, John, I'm not sure. I'm going to work my way back to get everybody else, because we only have 25%. We have 3 people out of 12 at this point. That makes no sense. I'm going to go back and start over again. This will give you folks that are ahead a little more time to try it. Look at the help signs they give you. All right. Remember, everybody who has it before, I need your checkers. All right. Don't worry about subscribing. Don't worry about doing the apocalypse. Let's do defensive Plainswood. There's your guy. You're going to build a fence here and build a fence here. How many people have already done defensive Plainswood? Raise your hand. I'm starting from scratch, guys. We got so many of us are. All right, so we only have 4 or 12 of you have done that, basically. All right, we're going to take a moment to do it now. And the other people that are ahead can keep working ahead. I'm sorry for those folks that are ahead, but this makes no sense. Okay. There you can see the health of the character. You can start, when you start the code, you can use this to control how fast the code operates. All right, I'm going to put everybody's hands down. I'm going to show you how to do this. Then I want you to do it and then raise your hand. Then you're going to have to, again, put a fence here and a fence there. And if you see where that X is, it says X is 40, Y is 52. So basically that's Y's up here and 40. So the origin starts down here. This is basically 0 that goes up and then goes to the left, right? Or from here over. I should say maybe from the left corner over. I don't think they really have negative on this. So there's 40 and there's just 20. So this one up here was 40, 52. Down below here is going to be 40, 20, because the y didn't change on the y-axis, should change just along the x. Why do you do math, by the way, folks? So you can be a better programmer. Okay, here's the code. Build 2 fences to keep the villagers safe. How's your mouse over the world to get the XY coordinates build type? So this build XY, first thing is, what are you building? You're building a fence. Then you're saying at 4, 40, 51, and 40, 20. So go ahead and run that code. See if you can get it to work. If you've already done it, you got it to work, raise your hands. If this is the first time you're doing it now, then I'll wait on you. And the people that are way ahead, good job, folks. Keep working on the future ones. If you're completely done, work on more things to print. Raise your hand once you have it. I've got the code here for you. Go ahead, let's get this knocked out. Once you have it, I'm not going to go on until I've got most people who've gotten it done. This is an opportunity for those people who've missed. Here we go. We're finishing up now. And if you don't have a... There we go. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and go on now. We're at 83%. We'll go to the next one. All right, this time you're going to get these spiffy boots. All right, and then those boots are going to allow you to go much faster. Put your hands down here. All right, we're going to start over here, work our way up to the gem, come back down to the gem, stay away from getting blown up there, and come over this way, and maybe build the fire pit there. So that's kind of the goal of that one. Let's say build X. We built the 2 fence. This is, I forget which one this is, move. All right. So then go ahead and each one of these locations use the XY, those XY coordinates. Let me see if I can bring up Code Combat myself. I can show you on this one. Go ahead. I'll show you right here. Come on, computer. It's trying, all of a sudden the blue line falls up. All right, here we go. All right. All right, let's play.
Code Combat.
So I'm running. I'm going to run here up to there, grab the gem, come back down, grab the other gem, and then build a fence and set. So here's my code. Right up here, folks. This move 36, this move 3440. Move 3713, build a fence at that location, and move. All right? That's where you're going with it. Don't just type my numbers down. Understand what you're doing. So where's that 36 and 46 come from? You say, Mr. Dubik? Well, My guess is that's going to be somewhere up here. Yeah, see, there's 3644. And then I say move again down to where this gym is, 3713. And that was 3440, then 3713. All right. So go ahead, raise your hands once you have this one done. Winding trail. All right, we got about half of us got this done. Let's the rest of us. If you've already had it done because you're already ahead, that's fine. Raise your hand. If you're working on it right now, let's go ahead and do it to it. Come on, Jason. Come on, Cooper. All right, we're getting there. John, if you've got it, go ahead. What's the Cole? Raise your hand if you've got it. Because I really would like to get moving a little bit quicker since we've already done this Wednesday. Well, John, I think you've done this one because you wouldn't be at the one we were stuck at if you haven't done this one already. So with that in mind, yeah, there we go. I'm going to go ahead to the next one. So that was the move. Then we have if statements. All right. What we do on that is all you're going to try to do in this one, your goal is to get this ogre so mad he's going to run across and blow himself up. Those are mines. Hey, you start calling them names, little ogre's going to run across and get hammered. Okay? Notice none of these guys have legs. It's kind of strange. All right, now, what you're going to do is you're really not writing code, you're correcting code. This is using an if statement. An if statement is simply this. If this is true, do this. Otherwise, don't. If the light is green, go. If the light is red, stop. What do you do if it... What happens if the light is not red or not yellow? Then it must be green, kind of thing. So you do something. If I'm hungry, I eat. If I'm tired, I sleep. And if I'm not tired, I don't sleep. Does that make sense? That's an if-then statement. So in this first line of code, it says if, and if you run it, you'll see it'll say hey. But the next few lines, it doesn't say unless you correct them. So if 2 plus 2 equals 5, is 2 plus 2 the same thing as 5? It's not. So change that so it is true. Like you could make that 4. Then it would say yes, you. 3 plus 3 is the same thing as 7. Of course not. What would you change it so it made it that way? And then write one little rant yourself right down there. And I'll show you what it'll look like in a minute. Raise your hands once you have it. Ryan, when it won't let you type, I end up copying and pasting. It's the most annoying thing. All right. Who else has gotten this done on the if statements? Raise your hand. And you're all to be commended that you're learning programming, folks. Wonderful opportunities there. All right, Cole and Caden, let us know once you got it. Michael, I haven't seen you answer something in a while. You probably missed, so you're just getting caught up, I understand. All right, so there we go. I got 80%. And I did it basically like this. I changed this one from 2 plus 2. I made it 4, so it says move to the first gem. I said 2 plus 2 isn't 5, so move to the second gem. I said if 2 plus 2 is less than 5, which it is, attack the enemy. And then 2 less than 1, well, that's not, move 45. If true, move 55, 25. So those were kind of my ways. You could have done it a lot of other ways. All right, the next one is Patrol Buster. We started to show that today. This is going to have that same if statement, but we're going to put inside a loop. A loop is something that just repeats the code over and over again. And what you want, what's great about a loop is it'll keep attacking enemies as long as there's people. So this guy's in here, he's patrol, got a little axe set over the side, he was working on something. Here's the code you're going to use. Loop, find the nearest enemy. If there's an enemy, attack it. If enemy, that's the same thing as saying if the enemy's true, and then you want to put a container here, this attack enemy container. This shows it without that, and that's how we got it to run, so there was a bug there. There should really be a container here and here. But go ahead and go for it. Raise your hand once you have this. This is kind of what we started with today. I should have just started from the very beginning. I didn't realize how many people were new or had missed. Again, raise your hands once you have it. John, I know it can be frustrating. Let's get there. Let me look at my code when I get there. Well, hopefully we can figure it out. I know. Patience and perseverance, crucial in this. Raise your hands once you have this statement and loop and watch the guy run around and whack them. Loops are very powerful in programming with if-then statements. Well, I'm not sure what's going on there. All right, folks, get to this. We're going to get to it. We'll look at it when I get to mine, John. Right here's your code, folks. Loop. Enemy. Find the nearest enemy. If there's an enemy, attack it. So if enemy, that's the same thing as saying, hey, true, this really is, there is an enemy here. Then attack it. Otherwise, keep looping around and around. Raise your hand once you have that. We'll go on to the next one once we get it. All right, raise your hands. If you got a coal, raise your hand. John, you've gotten this one, so go ahead and raise your hand up there, buddy. For that matter, Aiden, if you've gotten it. So, John, this is the one that you're stuck on? Okay, let's go through these lines by line, John. Go ahead and get out and come back to this one, and let's see if we can get it. So you've got loop bracket here. Enemy equals this times find nearest enemy. Parentheses, parentheses, semicolon. If enemy, don't put a bracket there since it may just work without it. This attack, parentheses, enemy, parentheses, semicolon, bracket. Is that what you have? Look at mine right here. Make it look like that. All right, then, if it's not working, do me this favor. You do the exact same thing. Put a container after that parenthesis and another container after this attack enemy. Well, see, this is where I'm going to show you why this whole thing drives me a little bit crazy. Look at these if-then statements. They all have the container afterwards. See that? Well, let's go back where we are right here. So it's going to be, if there's an enemy, attack it. If enemy, this period attack parentheses enemies semicolon. Then don't put the container there. That's clearly a typo. But see if you can get to this part. Because this other people have gotten it, so it does work kind of weird. John, work with me one last time. Then folks will go on to the next one. We'll come back and with John. Loop, container. That right container, you know, the very first container on your keyboard. So it's the left container, I should say. Enemy equals, make sure you've tabbed over. Enemy equals this, fire nearest enemy, parentheses, semicolon. When they make a suggestion, press enter and go ahead and use their suggestion. It usually works. Semicolon. If enemy, parentheses, parentheses. I found I didn't need to put the container there, but in reality you should. You should have to put a left container that says, hey, if the enemy, or in other words, if enemy is true, they found an enemy, this attack enemy, semicolon, then another bracket, and then this other bracket for the loop out there. But it looks like the code has got a bug in it, and it's allowing it doesn't want the loop containers that should be there. All right, I've got most people have gotten this far now. Okay. John, I just think, take a look at this. Take a picture of my screen. Also, this will be recorded. You can come back and look at. There's something in there you don't have quite right on that. Not quite the same as mine. All right, let's go back down here. Now, this is the one that says, the next one, endangered burl. That's a burl. It says, I'm not taking this, attacking this thing. Here's your code. This will give you a feeling. These first two examples will help you answer the next two bottom ones. First thing is find your nearest enemy. It's put it all in a loop, so it's going to go over and over again. There's your two brackets. Then this line of code. Find the nearest enemy, parentheses, semicolon, all right? Let me see something. Well, I just don't understand. Doesn't make sense to me. All right. If enemy type is a burl, this says, I'm not attacking that burl. So you're just using a say statement. If the type tells what kind of creature it is, if enemy type munchkin, this attack the enemy. So in other words, if it realizes it's looking at a burl, it's not going to attack it. They're too big. It sees a munchkin, it's going to attack it. If it sees a thrower, it should attack it. And if it sees an auger, then you need to do your run. Use those X, Y coordinates and run back to your village. Yeah, pound will do one line at a time. Slash slash does more than one line. Yeah, and remember, we always find the nearest enemy first before we ask for enemy types. Is there an enemy there? And in case there's no enemy, it says you're basically doing nothing. Now, I will put the PDF out. On the Thorn Farm, I will copy another slide over there so you have Thornberry Farm. Try to work on this. I will have you in class again. It's Wednesday. We'll pick it up. I'm going to make a note to where we are. And then let's take it from there. All right, folks? As far as I'm concerned, try to get this one done on some of your time, but you can leave now because I know it's more than an hour and some of you have got places to go. So take care. Bye, Jason. I'm sorry I missed him. Can I answer a question, Cole? I'm going to go back for John's sake. I want him to look at that code one more time what I had, because it's very weird that it's worked on mine and not on his. John, have you gotten it? Okay. All right, see if try a different computer. Cole, do you have any questions? I'm going to go ahead and stop recording this, and I'll just be here to help out.